If you're thinking of giving Star Wars Outlaws a go, then this video is for you, as I've already played the game thanks to an invitation from Ubisoft several weeks ago, and there's some good and some not so great stuff here which you need to be aware of before you do consider buying it. Now, full disclosure, I haven't been paid by Ubisoft for this video. This video isn't actually sponsored by anyone, and I'm here just giving you my honest opinions in the hope that this breakdown helps you make an informed purchase or non-purchase decision about this game in particular. Speaking of which, so we are all on the same page. Let's start off with some general overview info. It's the first ever open world Star Wars single player game, which means no multiplayer or co-op options here are available in this game, with it releasing on the 30th of August on Xbox Series X and S, PS5 and PC via Ubisoft Connect only, which means it won't be on Steam. That said, you will be able to play it at 4K resolution at 60 FPS on PC, and I will pop up those specs on your screen right now, as this was made by massive studios who did recently release Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, and they did have a 4K 60 FPS mode for consoles, so I can see that that same internal development happening here for this game, so do expect that on your consoles as well. Now, Outlaws won't be a 200 to 300 hour game, as Julian Girardi confirmed to me in an interview in LA that the story will take around 25 to 30 hours and around 60 hours for that 100% completion trophy, which may be music to the ears of some of you, especially if you've still got PTSD from AC Valhalla a few years ago now. He also said that Outlaws is a Metroidvania style game, which is similar to Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor if you've played either of those, where you will then need to revisit a specific place that you've encountered earlier on in your game playthrough, so you have to come back to it around about 20 hours later to be able to unlock that specific area thanks to a new skill unlock that you've kind of found in the game. Now, what about the different game editions, and what do you get in each one with this particular game? Firstly, we have the standard edition of the game, which is retailing at £59 and 69 euros and dollars for my American and European friends. We then have the gold edition of the game, which is where things start to get a little bit spicy, as this is coming in at £94 and 109 euros and $109. This comes with a base game, of course, but it also includes a season pass, which does include 2 future DLC expansions that will be arriving post-launch and within the first 12 months of release. You'll also get an exclusive Jabba's Gambit quest mission, a Kessel Runner cosmetic for Kay and Nix, which is a nice nod to Han Solo, and you'll also be able to play the game 3 days early, which lands on Tuesday the 27th of August if you do get this edition. Now, for our Ultimate Edition here, this is coming in at a very pricey £114 and 129 euros and dollars at the time of recording this video for you, which includes everything in the Gold Edition, but it also gives you or gets you a Sabak Shark bundle, which are cosmetics for Kay, her blaster, Nix, her speeder, and the Trailblazer ship. You'll also grab the Rogue Infiltrator bundle, which includes a different variation of the same cosmetic options in game, and you will get your hands on a digital art book with a selection of kind of concept art and pictures of behind the scenes info on how the game was made, if you're into that kind of, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, I guess. On top of that, if you're in the States and you do purchase this game from Target, you'll pick up a steel bookcase, as there is no collector's edition for Outlaws here, and that is thanks to Disney, so don't ask me why. And if you pre-order any of these editions before release, you'll get a Kessel Runner cosmetic pack for your speeder and ship. And a quick tip here for you, if you are new to Ubisoft Open World games, as they kind of release these pre-order bonuses and story missions into Ubisoft Connect a few months after release, which means that you can redeem them for Ubisoft points that you earn. Assassin's Creed kind of being the most recent example of this, if I remember correctly, so just bear that in mind if you're kind of tempted to pre-order these editions just because of these cosmetic items, because yeah, you'll get them for free a few months down the line. And by the way, if you are a Ubisoft Plus subscriber, you'll get everything in the Ultimate Edition on day one for free. Well, not for free, you know, you're paying for your subscription, but you know what I mean. You'll get that edition on day one. Now, storyline, what's the basis of this game, and when does it take place in the whole Star Wars universe? Well, Ubisoft and Lucasfilm Games have placed Outlaws between The Empire Strikes Back and The Return of the Jedi, so kind of in the middle of a civil war between the Empire and the Rebel Alliance. But this game isn't about either of them, but rather it's about Kay Vass, who is the protagonist that we will be playing in this game, who is navigating her way through the criminal underworld, which is at its absolute peak operational level at this time in the galaxy. Now, the core of this story is that she starts off as a thief from Canto Bight, which you may remember is the kind of casino city on the planet of Cantonica, which we did see in the Last Jedi film. And to get out of the slums, or to get out of, you know, that kind of slave environment, she accepts a criminal job, which then goes Pete Tong, as we say here in the UK, or it's all gone wrong. See, what a terrible joke. She subsequently gets a massive bounty placed on her head by Slero, the leader of the Zerek Besh criminal family, and now her current goal is to recruit companions to help her pull off the ultimate heist, which is essentially stealing a shed load of credits from Slero himself, which that doesn't make too much sense, but we'll see how that kind of pans out.
That doesn't make sense.
Allowing her to then buy her way to freedom. So that's the kind of crux of the story, without giving too much info away here. But having played the game for over 5 hours so far, I cannot tell you how important each Syndicate faction will be in this game from a story point of view, but also from a gameplay perspective, which I'm going to break down for you next. Now, firstly, we have the Pikes, who are the galaxy's ultimate supplier of spice, which is a narcotic substance mined by slaves on the planet of Kessel. We then have the infamous Hutt Cartel, who are the ultimate smugglers of illegal goods throughout the systems, as well as Crimson Dawn, led by Lady Kira, and who then kind of went on to dominate the criminal underworld, becoming the most powerful syndicate in the galaxy. So it's kind of interesting to see her here. You may remember her from the Han Solo film. We also have the newly created Ashiga clan, who operate with a hive mind as their insectile humanoids with no mouth or eyes, and are focused on respecting honor, tradition, and history. And finally, the Zerek Besh clan, which is led by Slero, as we've just mentioned, and who is the dominant syndicate during this game, and who we won't actually be able to earn a reputation with, as they're kind of part of the main narrative. Which brings me nicely onto how these syndicates operate, and that's through a reputational system where you will be able to choose whether you want to build a positive or negative relationship with each faction, as you can see here from my kind of captured footage. Now, if you decide to focus on completing side quests issued by a certain faction over another syndicate, you'll then earn specific rewards for leveling your reputation to the maximum, as Kay being able to unlock a Imperial disguise outfit, as you can kind of see here on the screen. If I just kind of bring it up, that means that, yeah, we'll be able to wear that if we max out our reputation with the Pikes. Now, in fact, I asked Julian Geraghty if it was possible to level all of these syndicate factions to their max level, and he said it was, or it is, but it is very difficult to do so. And he went on to say that if you want to get the best experience out of this game, we should not hesitate to betray every faction if it benefits us directly in some way, or in some kind of cutscene that we get to choose. That said, if you want to max level out one syndicate early doors, they do reward the best gear and armor, as confirmed to me, as well as unlocking exclusive secret quests and restricted areas that you can't enter unless you get to a certain reputational level. So if that sounds more interesting and fun to you, pick a syndicate and grind it out early doors. And by the way, if you are enjoying this very swift, no nonsense breakdown so far, please do leave a very quick like down below. It does help me out on YouTube, and my genuine thanks for your support. Now, one of the things that I did enjoy doing with my brief time with the game was being able to explore the open world, where I tried to kind of visit the 5 planets available in this game, and I'm actually going to run you through them now, just so, yeah, we're all kind of on the same page, I guess. The first being Cantonica, the casino city I mentioned earlier, which is a hub for smugglers and kind of big boss crime bosses. We then have the moon of Tashara, which is a new location in Star Wars, and where the majority of the game will be taking place, and that's where the kind of majority of my playthrough took place as well. Thirdly, we have Akiva, which is a jungle world, and Tatooine, where we can visit the famous Mos Eisley spaceport. And finally, Kijimi, which is a mountainous frosty planet which is overrun with thieves and lots of bandits. Now, Julian told me there's intentional secrets hidden throughout all of these planets which won't appear on our maps, which are then easy to find if they did. But what does appear are these kind of standard Ubisoft question marks, which are side quests, points of interest, or roaming vendors that are worth us visiting in game, and that's as a way to introduce us to new locations and not just kind of pinpoint everything on a map that we can go and do, as they kind of want to immerse us in this game bit by bit. Additionally, they disabled fast travel for me in my session, but just know that it is in this game, and the transition between leaving and entering a planet on K's spaceship was very seamless, to be fair, and so much better than Starfield in my honest opinion, just as a kind of recent example or comparison of these two kind of similar mechanics. That said, one of the things I did enjoy was being able to kind of get immersed in a Star Wars world, like open world I mean, by playing full games of Sabacc, which is like poker in Red Dead Redemption 2, or kind of gambling on horse racing, as you can kind of see here, or playing Star Wars arcade games inside Star Wars, which sounds something out of Inception, but it was genuinely good fun, and the kind of minutes just flew by for me. I literally had to stop and go elsewhere, so I'm definitely going to be doing a lot of that in this game. I also found a random bird whilst out exploring, as you can kind of see here as well, which then led me to this pirate camp that can be completed on a optional hard mode, which then rewards you with, you kind of guessed it, better loot and rewards, as well as accepting intel clues from random NPCs you meet out in the wild, which can then lead on to a profitable side quest with a specific syndicate or faction, which then increases your reputation with them in the process. I found it really easy to say, like, I opened up my map, as you can see here, and I was like, right, I'm going to go and do that now, and then I kind of got sidetracked on 3 or 4 different things as I kind of made my way there, which I always feel is like a good thing in an open world game, and I think that's a positive. That said, there were a few things that I did not like. The first being that I can't kill random NPCs or rob them of their loot out in the world, as they just kind of go around and do their kind of business, like again, like in Red Dead Redemption 2. I also couldn't punch or kick other NPCs or even the Empire Stormtroopers, which I found really unimmersive, especially as this game is literally called Outlaws, and I couldn't really do just some random outlawish thing unless it was within the restrictions or kind of rules of Ubisoft game, which it was a bit of a letdown, to be honest. I hope that kind of changes in the future with future updates. In fact, if you cause enough trouble with your blaster against the correct right enemy NPCs, you then raise your wanted level to the max level until the Empire apprehends you, who are the GTA police equivalent, essentially. So the mechanic is actually already there in the game, so I don't know why we just can't go and rob random people and then generate our wanted level that way. Hopefully that kind of gets added in the future, but we'll just have to wait and see. But after you do raise your level or get to the max level here, you get arrested, but the problem is nothing kind of happens at all. You just kind of reset, the screen refreshes, and then you just carry on as you were doing with a credit or money penalty, which I did find, again, a little bit unimmersive, a little bit disappointing. I would have liked to have been thrown in jail and then we have to kind of picklock our way out, but hey, it is what it is. Now, that is actually a nice transition onto combat and stealth, because these are pretty much the only 2 options that you've got in this game when it comes to kind of offense in any way, and that is either entering an area quietly, sneaking around and using Nix, your companion, to collect items, press activation buttons or stun guards at range, or you can kind of go full gunslinging mode and try and nuke everyone that you can see. Now, I tried that method, of course, several times over to get a good solid feel of it, where I forced myself into an Imperial outpost and just camped behind a door, nuking respawned enemies, as you can see here, just to kind of test the AI, which was good fun actually, but that kind of good fun feeling didn't last too long, as I soon realized they just kind of continue to respawn rapidly until you either die or you achieve the objective in the outpost, which is kind of disabling all security systems. Incidentally, there is no lightsabers in this game. Maybe I should have probably said that earlier in the video, because it's just you, Nix, your blaster, grenades, smoke bombs, and the occasional big boy weapon that you just pick off the floor or Nix kind of collects for you that actually can't be equipped permanently, so it's kind of there for a big impact blast, and once it's done, it's done. Now, as for stealth, there's no social blending mechanics in this game, no stealth sprinting that I could trigger, and the takedowns become quite repetitive after several times over. So something to manage your expectations with on going into this game, even though I would say it is quite satisfying to kind of successfully plan your route through a specific mission, take down everyone without kind of alerting anyone. But yeah, there isn't any kind of new technology that I was aware of or experienced in this game. What I would say is it is the first ever open world Star Wars game. That is the main unique selling point here, And if you played any Ubisoft Open World games before, you're going to understand what the combat and stealth experience is like. That said, one of the biggest positives for me, apart from the Syndicate reputation system that we spoke about earlier, is the new skill system that isn't a big tree of skill points that you need to aimlessly cash in after leveling up 1,000 times, but rather you will need to recruit experts to your team that provide you with a new ability or upgrade on certain skills that you already have. So for example, once we find and speak to this bartender expert, he will allow us to unlock the fast talk skill here, which to unlock it, we'll need to use a takedown on distracted enemies 3 times and also defeat enemies with melee, like punching, kicking 5 times. Now, once this is unlocked, we'll then be able to react to nearby alerted enemies that spot us by pressing the R3 on our D-pad stick real quick. So that kind of delays their reaction and allows us to kind of shoot first before they then alert all of their other colleagues stormtroopers in the vicinity. Now, this mechanic encourages us to go out and find these experts in the open world, kind of complete their specific challenges that they set, which we may not usually do or be inclined to do from a gameplay standpoint, because that's just not how we like to play, but it's kind of good fun to do so, and it generates new side quests and storylines that we may have skipped past, which I think is a very good change when it comes to skill tree mechanics in open world games. Now, customization, what is the deal with it in Outlaws? Well, I went into the menus again to find out, and I was disappointed to see, I keep saying disappointed a lot. Now, my general opinion of this game, having played it, it's pretty good, by the way, but I was disappointed to see that there was no helmet option for K here, which means that my kind of hope of being able to find a Mando Beskar armor and helmet has now been destroyed, and my life is ruined, and this game is garbage.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
But jokes aside, there's only 3 gear options for K, that being chest, belt, and boots, with better gear options having a specific stat boost or bonus applied to that gear choice. So for example, this ruffian jacket, which I picked up, increases the pickup ammo capacity for my blaster. Now, there's also 2 small charm slots which have unique buffs and bonuses similar to AC Mirage most recently, with the blaster having several options of upgrades, so you can kind of tailor your gun at the workbench to your own playstyle, with the same for your Trailblazer ship in terms of offensive and defensive abilities, and the custom appearance wraps and upgrades for your speeder bikes. So what you kind of expect from an open world Ubisoft game. That said, I've got a more thorough gameplay breakdown in this video on your screen right now, so give that a click if you want to know more. I think it should be on my face right now, which is lovely. I'll see you there in just a second. But if you do plan to buy the game, please do use the AndyReloads credit code at Ubisoft checkout to help support me on YouTube. I will be covering this game from start to finish, so it'd be great to have you along for the ride, and my additional thanks in advance for using that code, and my additional thanks ×2 to Nika for helping me make this video. I think Cantina Drinks is on her. It is her round, and I'll see you in that next video in just a moment.